Take an ancient Native American ceremonial site, a mysterious man with strange powers, the FBI, Nazi sympathizers, an underground hideout, mysterious lights in the sky, attempted murder, and a spectacularly gruesome suicide. What do you got? You got the Caveman of Giant Rock. Many places in the desert have strange stories attached to them. Some are spooky, some are bloody, and some are just downright weird. And today at Giant Rock, we definitely have all three. Sitting on the edge of an ancient dry lake bed near the town of Landers in Southern California, Giant Rock is just as its name suggests, a gigantic single granite boulder over 7 stories tall and covering almost 6,000 square feet. Venerated as a holy spot by the local Native Americans, it sat silently for centuries until the late 1930s when one man, a German-American miner by the name of Frank Kritzer, came to work and live. Poor and without materials, the enterprising Kritzer burrowed under the huge boulder and fashioned himself a cave house that soon became the talk of the local desert. Noticing that the lake bed around Giant Rock made for a great landing strip, Kritzer opened a small rough airport for private pilots who were visiting the high desert or needed a place to make an emergency landing. People that knew him said the cave-dwelling miner was a strange yet highly intelligent man, full of ideas about synthetic building materials and advanced technologies. They also said he claimed to have mysterious energies and talents, one of which was the ability to recharge electronic batteries simply by sleeping on or near them. For years, he was viewed as a harmless desert eccentric, but with the coming of World War II, his fortunes darkened. With private aviation curtailed by the government, Kritzer's little airport closed, and with a German name and background, people soon began to talk. The miner had built himself a tall radio antenna on the rocks for his tube radio hobby, and this, along with reports of strange lights and unknown aircraft being seen in the night skies over Giant Rock, it wasn't long before Kritzer was suspected of being a Nazi sympathizer or spy. Even more suspicious, local mines and remote railroad depots in the area had begun to report someone was stealing gasoline and dynamite. And not just a few sticks, but crate after crate of explosives. Soon the FBI was alerted to the caveman, and in 1941, agents along with Army intelligence officers set up a surveillance operation on the mysterious miner. A search of his cave house revealed no dynamite or signal flares, so he was not arrested at the time. But in July of 1942, after another large theft of explosives, the FBI ordered the local deputies to return and question Kritzer once again. Depending on whose version you believe, what happened next was either sinister or a tragedy. The FBI said 3 deputies came to the door. They knocked. Kritzer came to the door wearing a necklace of dynamite, and as soon as he saw it was the authorities, he set it off, blowing himself to bits and damn near killing the deputies. A search of the rubble turned up a further 170 pounds of stolen dynamite, all wired to go off, all attached to the necklace. It was only a miracle that had saved the authorities from being vaporized along with the caveman. The last chapter had been written. The story the locals tell is a little bit different. They say that when the deputies knocked on the door, Kritzer, tired of years of government interference and surveillance, simply bolted it and refused to come out. The deputies returned to their car, got a tear gas grenade, and dropped it down a ventilation shaft. It rattled around before landing in an open case of dynamite where it exploded, killing the man and almost taking the authorities with him. It doesn't take a genius to figure out which story became the official line. So who was Frank Kritzer? Was he a Nazi spy? Was he a dangerous eccentric? Or was he just some guy done in by wartime hysteria and xenophobia over a German last name? We'll never know. But there is an interesting footnote to his story. Those strange lights in the sky, the weird aircraft scene that started the whole thing, Well, after the war, another man came to Giant Rock and took up residence under the boulder. A man who said that UFOs visited him on a regular basis and gave him information. He started a UFO cult and convention that drew thousands of people from around the world for the next 40 years. But that's a story for another episode. Tonight, we deal with Frank Kritzer, the original caveman of Giant Rock. I'm M.L. Behrman, and this is Mojave Mysteries.